Warning, this video is going to contain spoilers for Wrong Turn, The Foundation. You've been warned. Springtime is now upon us, and summer is right around the corner. So naturally, it's time to break out the summertime horror movies. One of the most terrifying things that I find when it comes to horror movies and summertime is roaming around in the woods, hiking, going into no man's land where there is no help. It's you versus nature, you versus the elements, you versus whatever you find out there. Many people go to the woods and go hiking in search for something bigger than themselves. They go out to find deeper meaning, maybe get away from the busy city life. Well, in the year 2003, we got a movie that took those generalized fears that I had of going out into the woods and turned it into reality. And that was Wrong Turn. Now in 2021, the franchise has been rebooted into Wrong Turn, The Foundation.
They would be the foundation on which a new nation would be built.
From every mountain let freedom ring.
Now back in 2003, when I saw Wrong Turn for the first time as a middle school student, it was a good romp of a horror movie. It's not too serious, but at the same time, it's not too stupid. It was one of those perfect summertime horror movies to get you in the mood to start watching other summer-related horror movies like Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp. But as the series kept on going, it unfortunately fell into the same trap that a lot of horror movies fall into, where they're put into a grinder and milked for all they're worth in lots and lots of sequels that are not entertaining, that are not funny, and they're just so stupid that they're not even worth watching. When I heard there was going to be a reboot of Wrong Turn, I wasn't really that interested. When it comes to reboots in horror movies, it normally doesn't go very well. You can probably count on one hand how many times a horror movie franchise has been rebooted and actually came out well. But, to my surprise, I am happy to report that Wrong Turn, The Foundation, is actually pretty damn good for a reboot. I know a lot of you are probably scratching your head and thought that this was going to be a rant review, but no. Wrong Turn, The Foundation, is actually something of a hidden gem for 2021 when it comes to horror movies, and definitely a hidden gem when it comes to rebooted horror movies. If you were to put in horror movie remakes, Wrong Turn, The Foundation would fit very well with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the reboot, Evil Dead, the reboot, The Hills Have Eyes, the reboot. The plot of the movie is a group of students, college kids, go out to the woods to go on a hike. And as they go on a hike, of course, they go off trail. After being warned by all the townsfolk in the most tropiest way possible, don't go out there. Sometimes people don't come back. Don't go off the trail. Something bad's probably going to happen to you.
Have you been here before?
First time, just doing a little hiking.
Piece of advice. Keep to the marked trail. The land here can be unforgiving.
Well, they go off the trail. And the funny thing is, as a normal human being, you always put yourself in this situation where it's like, if I was out there with my friends, we go off trail and someone almost dies because they almost fall off a cliff, the first thing we're gonna do is fucking go and turn around and go back to the trail. Not what these kids do.
It's just a little further, okay? I promise. Okay, please. Okay?
No!
This movie does a really good job of representing how nice it is to escape the city. How nice it is to escape our everyday busy lives and go out and reconnect with nature. That's a huge thing that's thrown in the very intro of this movie. It makes the scenery look majestic and beautiful, and you wish you were there too with these people hiking in this mountain. The thing that I really do like about this compared to normal tropey adventures in the woods where people get killed by cannibals and stuff is this movie did not overdo it with the stupidity. It did not make the teenagers all to be just sex-driven, drug addict idiots running out in the woods. It did the one thing I didn't think was possible. It made me care about every single one of the protagonists in this movie in one way or another. So as these kids are exploring the woods, haven't turned back yet, things go bad rather quickly for them.
What is that?
If you're at all familiar with how Wrong Turn goes in the movie series, traps are a huge thing. Snare traps, bear traps, traps that you would see in fucking Predator that Arnold Schwarzenegger set up.
Come on, kill me, I'm here! Come on, do it now, kill me!
Now, where this movie took an unusual turn and what I was not expecting, because coming up to watching this movie, I didn't watch any trailers for it. I didn't look at any spoilers. I didn't look at anything about it on the internet. It just popped up and I decided to watch it and rent it. And it took the most unexpected turn to me that I was definitely not expecting. If you've come to know the Wrong Turn movies, we all know that they're cannibalistic hillbillies that are all deformed and disfigured and very much in the vein of The Hills Have Eyes. This actually takes that whole concept and throws it away. None of that in this movie. And for me, huge positive change. In fact, there's one part of the movie where they actually kind of make fun of the older films. So our remaining protagonists are captured by the Foundation. The Foundation is a group of people whose ancestors were some of the first settlers of the United States, of America, before there were even all the full colonies of the states of the United States. We're talking about in the early 1800s. These group of people and their ancestors have been living up on this mountain for years and years and years, all preparing for the fact that America one day is gonna fall and the whole entire country is gonna be mass hysteria, everyone out for themselves, but yet they're gonna be self-sufficient. They have their own food, they have their own laws, and they definitely have their own form of crime and punishment. The thing that I found the most brutal about this movie was how the Foundation treats its people that get out of line. You would think that a self-sufficient community would have less crime or less fuck-ups to where they need extreme violence. It's either, you know, it's like Roman Colosseum, life or death, you know, for these people if someone fucks up. Now, where the movie gets a little bit slow is where the dad of one of the main protagonists is looking for her and is questioning people around town and trying to hire someone to help him go find these people out in the woods. And I don't know if it's because they were running out of money, they ran out of time, or what, but the ending definitely feels very rushed compared to what's going on within the main plot of the film. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of plot holes in this movie. It's not a perfect film by any means. I also suggest, if you're gonna watch this movie and you have surround sound, make sure you have it on surround sound. Because when I did watch it initially, I had it with my surround sound on, and it sounded fucking amazing. The soundtrack for this movie is fucking awesome. All of the scores, all of the sounds that they use make you very on edge throughout the entire time at the right moments. And then when I went back to see clips of this before I did the review without surround sound, it made them definitely a lot less impactful. So it definitely goes to show how impactful scores are in movies. Now, huge plot holes. The Foundation, supposedly its own self-sufficient community that doesn't deal with anybody else. The town below says we don't bother them, they don't bother us. But yet, at the very beginning of the movie, it breaks its own rules because one of the main protagonists meets one of the main leaders of the Foundation and buys something from them. So, to me, why would they need cash? Why would they need money? They're not trading with people. They don't make contact with the people of the town. And from what I understand, in all the rules that they set up here at the Foundation when the kids are captured, they are completely 100% self-sufficient. They make their own clothes, they get their own food, they have their own water, they make their own houses. So why is it that they rely on buying stuff and selling stuff? For me, that doesn't really make too much sense, especially since they're so anti the real world, or the modern world, if you want to say it that way. Another huge plot hole. This movie drives it down your throat the entire time that this mountain and these people have set up this crazy death trap of a way to get up this mountain. There is no way up. There is no way to get back down, and they make it definitely stated over and over and over again of how if you go up there, you're never going to come back. But at the very end of the movie, the hillbilly characters come and save the protagonist and the protagonist's father just by driving there on a trail that is clearly visible, and they get away. They get away. And we're talking about this community, the Foundation, literally has, we're talking about like up to 60 people, it looks like, living there. Most of them being men, and most of them trained to kill. Bows and arrows, throwing knives, traps in the forest. And somehow you're telling me that you could just drive up there in a car, right up to almost their front door, and get away. Biggest plot hole for me throughout the entire movie was that. So plot holes aside, some boring parts aside, this movie actually does a good job of telling a scary story. It definitely made me feel on edge a lot through the first hour of the movie. And we're talking about a near 2-hour film. I think it's an hour and 50 minutes. So for a good hour of that, you're on edge. You're hyped up, you're tensed up, especially with the surround sound on. I have to really emphasize that. It really, really helps the movie out. The kill scenes are very intense. The traps in the movie are things that we haven't seen before, but they're still always very brutal, and still, you can imagine how painful they are. You definitely have empathy for a lot of the main characters in the film. I mean, there's a couple of them that you don't like because they're just stupid or they're an asshole. But for the rest of them, you feel like they're very believable as characters, just going on this weekend trip with their friends before they go off and do back to their everyday lives, and it turns into a fucking nightmare. Let me tell you something about these Foundation people. They have skills that the fucking Foot Clan from Ninja Turtles would want.
What? What's that by the car? Those assholes from the bar? Yeah, pal. Are you deaf or something? Back the fuck up!
What's that, Adam? Are you trying to piss off everyone in Middle America?
You gotta be tough with these people.
Okay, big guy. Time for bed. Come
Back
on.
me up here.
Adam.
What? What?
Where the hell did that guy go?
Ninja vanish!
The ability to vanish, the ability to blend in with their surroundings. They're like the perfect mixture of John Rambo and ninjas. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give Wrong Turn, The Foundation, a 7 out of 10. In the first hour, the movie had a lot of buildup when it came to tension, and then it just hit this dead time for a little bit of just random filler that I felt like didn't need to be in there or just wasn't really that prevalent to the story. And then the ending was, just like I said, a giant plot hole that I just could not get over. But what I will say is that the very end of the movie, we're talking about the last 5 minutes of the movie, takes that tension and rises right back up again, which for me kept it at a 7. It didn't go lower because of that. If the ending was bad or stupid, it would have gotten a lower score. But because it wasn't, and I love what they did with the ending credit scene, you don't see it very often in movies. It's a good 7. It's a solid 7. So, if you're a horror movie fan, and you're a fan of Wrong Turn, the franchise, at least for me, I only liked Wrong Turn 1 and 2, to be honest with you. The rest, I don't care about. But for a rebooted horror film, it definitely took a more serious, dark turn than the kind of comedy, tropey hillbillies that you would expect to see in a movie like this. There are parts that you definitely feel were very heavily inspired by movies like Midsommar or the Evil Dead reboot. What I did like is the protagonists are believable. They definitely act like the kids of this generation. There's a lot I don't cover in this review because there are a lot of key points that I don't want to spoil the entire film on. But take my word, if you're looking for a good horror movie reboot and it's not a waste of money, I would say go rent this one. Anyway guys, this is Forrest, this is Retro or Die, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and thank you to all my Patreon members on Patreon. I will see you guys in the next movie review. Later.